long time ago, in this one Lakota camp, a stranger came walking into the village, and nobody would knew who he was. Um, but as he came, into the camp, suddenly women. It seemed like they almost, you know, like they smelled him or something coming in, because they were women from all over the camp, even women who were sitting inside teepees, they just came out, yeah, and they started surrounding this guy. And he wasn't a particularly good-looking guy or anything, but there was something about him that was enchanting. And the women were just adoring him, and even married women, yeah, women who had children. They were really just circling around this guy and all trying to give him food. They were all trying to have him come to their teepee, because in Lakota tradition, the teepee belongs to the woman. Yeah, and she is the law in the house. Yeah, whatever she says, you better do it. That's just the way it is. Yeah, and for this reason, today's Lakota people misunderstand that, and they think that because of that, we're matriarchal, but we're not. Yeah, this is just a teepee that we're talking about. Okay, nothing. This everything else is something. It's a different situation depending on what it is. Okay, so finally, the men are just like, they're trying to say, they're trying to asking questions. Where'd you come from, and who are you, and who's your family, stuff. But the women are keep pushing the men away. Yeah, and they all want this man's attention. And it gets to be late in the evening, and finally he chooses a young girl, not a little girl, but a young woman, and to go spend the night in her teepee. So the next day, they get up, and obviously they've had sex, yeah, and she's all, just like really in love with him. But he, as the day goes on, he chooses another woman. So he keeps doing this, yeah, and it gets to be kind of a problem, because during the daytime he'll go with a woman to her teepee, have sex with her, come out and eat, and then another lady will want him to come to her teepee. So it's like during the day he was having sex with several women, yeah, in one day, one after the other. And so, do you see where the Catholic priests and Christian priests would have a problem with the story? Excuse me. So then the men are starting to get concerned, because they don't want their wives to start having sex with him. Right now, up until that point, it's just single women. Yeah, women with no children, women who are not married. And so they're saying, how can we what can we do? Yeah, how can we get rid of him? And so they say, okay, they realize that early in the morning he comes outside. He goes out to the bushes to use the bathroom. Yeah, he's always by himself. So they said, let's kill him at that time. So they said, okay. They really are freaking out. Yeah? So that following morning, there's a group of men that are watching on him. They're spying him. And they get to, he goes behind some bushes. And so while he's, trying to use a bathroom, a bunch of warriors come and they ambush him and they kill him. Yeah, they kill him and they drag his body away and they bury it underground, and then they go out, and then women are starting to look, where's he at? Yeah, they're all freaking out because he's gone. And then later in the evening, here comes a man walking into the village, Yeah, and I say, hey, how are you guys doing? What's going on? And it's the same man. So the men are like, what's going on here? We killed him, but here he is. Yeah, it's like he's alive. And sure enough, the same thing starts again. He's having sex with different girls throughout the daytime, and women are feeding him, so he doesn't have to go hunting or anything. And the men are like, geez, how are we gonna? We can't even kill him. He comes back to life. How is that? Yeah, how is he doing that? And they realize they're dealing with something very, very deadly. And so, um, they say, okay, let's play a game. Back then, they had a game called shinny, and it's something like lacrosse. What the Indians and the Northeast play. It's the Mohawks. The what do you call it? This Haudenosaunee. This confederacy is what some people call the Iroquois Confederacy. The tribes in those areas had this game, and it's interesting that Lakota people also had the game. And how did it spread? Yeah, how did it go that far? Well, to side note off the story just for a few minutes, long time ago, there were certain places in North America where Indians went to trade. And when you went to those areas, before you go in there, you have to lay down your weapons, and you have to, promise that you'll be peaceful, or you die. Yeah, simple as that. If you disrupt the peace, they kill you. Doesn't matter who you are. So enemies come there, and they lay their weapons down, and they trade. Yeah, maybe there's goods from, like say from Florida, that maybe people in South Dakota want, and maybe the other way around too. Yeah, maybe there's buffalo robes that Indians from other parts of the country where there are no buffalo, maybe they desire those robes too, so they trade for them, and they do this at these locations. And part of it's kind of like a celebration when they do that. And so there's to work out tension. They play games, yeah, very physical games, and one of them was this lacrosse. Yeah, so this is telling you that some Lakota people traveled over to the Northeast to trade, and they participated in this. And when they came back, they had this game. See, that shows you how Indians traveled all over the place back then. We didn't just stay in one area. Yeah. So. Back to the original story now. So the men in the camp, they said, let's play a game of shinny, but we're going to wait till it's a really, really windy day. And what we're going to do is we'll kick the ball to a corner where there's a lot of trees. And when we get it there, and we have to make sure that he's there, yeah, that the stranger is there. And so that when they... then when they get him there, the men are going to encircle him, and they're going to hit the ground with their shinny sticks to make a lot of dust come up. And while that's happening, they're going to drag him back to the another bush, and 7 men are going to mutilate him. Yeah, they're going to cut his legs off, they're going to cut his arms off, and they're going to cut his head off. Yeah, and they're going to cut his groin area. They're going to separate that from the body. So you have 7 parts. Yeah, 2 legs, 2 arms, the head, the upper body, and the lower body. So they're going to separate him into 7 pieces like that. And what they're going to do is they're going to go in 7 different directions. Okay, and they're instructed to travel for 4 days nonstop. Don't rest, don't sleep, yeah? And go as far as you can away from each other. And then they're supposed to dig a hole in the ground that's as tall as them, yeah? And then they're supposed to burn that body part and put the ashes down that hole. Yeah, and then cover that, and then all of them, they can sleep, and then get rest, eat, and then journey back to the camp. That was the plan. Yeah, that they felt that was the only way they could get rid of him, and um, so they were waiting. Yes, in the meantime, he's having sex with all these women, and now he's starting to have sex with married women. Yeah, and the men are they're scared of him because this guy came back from the dead, so they don't know what to do. Yeah, they're waiting for a windy day. So finally, a windy day comes, and then they go according to plan. They say, let's play a game of shinny, and they invite this guy to play, and he says, no, I don't feel like playing. He says, and the women are saying, oh, come on, we want to see you run. We like to watch your body, so we want to see you run. We want to see you, do these things. So he said, oh, okay. So he went out there and he was playing with the men. So they were playing, all, for I don't know, several hours or so, and then finally they were able to get the ball to near this wooded area, and so they went according to plan. The men surrounded him, and the men turned their backs against him, and they start hitting the ground. So all this dust was coming up. Then they drug him behind the bushes where there were 7 other men waiting for him, and they knocked him out first, and then they separated his body parts into the 7 pieces that I told you. Then the men took off with those pieces. Yeah, they went off, and then they continued to play the game, and then they played for a little while. Then somebody threw hit the ball way over there and made it look like it got lost, and that's when they ended the game. So they started coming back to the camp, and the women were looking around, and they were waiting. They were like, where's the pretty man? Yeah, where's the lover man? And the men said, I don't know. They said, we were all in this group, and somebody hit the ball someplace, and we didn't know where it was. So he said he'd go look for it. So he took off. So we were waiting for him, but he never came back. So we just decided to end the game, and we came back. So they said maybe he found some more women. Yeah, and so these women were kind of sad. Yeah, they're like, oh, geez, maybe, I didn't love him enough. Maybe I didn't kiss him enough. They were low self-esteem, yeah, talking like that. They were all blaming themselves that he went away for his leaving. So, several days were gone, and then those 7 warriors came back. Now, these warriors, they weren't married, yeah. They were... So this way they wouldn't have any wives saying, hey, where did you go? Kind of thing. So they came back and they reported to the council, and they said they all did what they were supposed to do. So they were like, whew, we finally got rid of him, yeah. So then they were, several days went by, and things were slowly coming back to normal. And then one day, a man came walking into the village. Yeah, he was carrying a ball, and he said, hey, brothers, he said, I finally found that ball. He said, shall we finish the game? And so the men were looking at each other, and they were like, oh, my goodness, he's back. Yeah? And so they were basically at the mercy of this man. Yeah, so when he got tired of the women there, he moved on. Went to the next village, did the same thing. And one thing that they noticed was when they cut him up, during that game, the men noticed that it smelled like an elk. Yeah, when they cut him, it smelled like how an elk smells when you butcher it, skin it, when you process it. That's what this man smelled like. So this guy got the reputation of being an alchemist, yeah, and that he's out to have, the only thing he does is to go and have sex. He's a kind of like a sex addict kind of thing, and the way he is, he doesn't even have to do anything, and he can enchant a woman to basically say, "Come with me. You can do anything you want to with me." She totally surrenders to him. Yeah. So that's the alchemist. So people, when they think of alchemedicine, they think this. They think that people use this medicine to make women fall in love with them. That's false. And today, people will, sometimes girls will marry guys, from far away, and then maybe they catch that guy with their sister or their cousin and having sex or whatever, and that woman will say, "Geez, he must have used alchemedicine to marry me." See, they blame it on that, and really he's just an unhealthy guy. Yeah, and he deceived her. He was pretending to be a good guy. Yeah, so he deceived her. So right away, people assumed he was using alchemedicine, and this is this is this is this is not a correct concept. Yeah. So this was happening for thousands of years. The same man was going from camp to camp to camp. He never aged. Yeah, he always stayed the same age. So he was doing this, and then in another Lakota camp, thousands of years later, there was this man. He wanted to. He was going to go do some hunting. So he went out, and he went out by himself because they were. It was this kind of, the people were a little bit spread out. So he went out by himself, and he was looking for some buffalo or deer or something to shoot, so he could so that the family could have something to eat. And so he saw this hill. So he went over there and climbed it and was looking around, trying to see, if there was buffalo or anything out there. Even the prairie chicken. Prairie chicken really tastes good. Yeah, it's really, exquisite. Yeah, it's been many years since I've eaten that. It's wild chicken. It's indigenous to the Great Plains in America. It's very tasty. Yeah. So he was looking for anything, and while he was there, he heard a voice behind him. It sounded like an old man, and he said he couldn't tell, he couldn't understand what the voice was saying. So he was looking around. Yeah, he turned around. There was some shrubbery, yeah, tall bushes, and he looked around. He didn't see anybody there. So he was like, maybe it's just the wind, yeah. So he went to the other side of the hill and was looking for some animal. Again, he heard that voice. He looked around and still couldn't see anything. So he just thought, the wind's playing with my ears, yeah. So he went to another side, and again he heard it. There's a little bit clear, yeah. He could hear a few words here and there, but couldn't make out what he was trying to say. So he was looking. I couldn't see anything. So then he went to another corner of the hill, and he's looking around, and then he heard the voice again. And the voice said, "Grandson," he said, "I have a medicine for you. And this is a medicine that's very strong, and it's a medicine to heal people, and because there's it's an illness that no other medicine can cure. Yeah, it's an illness that it's a medicine can cure an illness that no other medicine can cure. No medicine man can cure this disease. And he said, I can give it to you. And so the man, now he heard it. Yeah, he heard the voice clear. So he's following the voice, and here it was coming from that bush. So he was like, is the bush talking to me? And so he went closer, and here on the behind the bushes there was a skeleton. It was an elk, yeah, an elk skeleton. And the voice was coming from the skull, from the mouth. And the voice said that he can give him a medicine that can cure a disease that no other medicine can cure. He said, this is going to be really valuable for your people, he said. And he said, I can give it to you if you want it, because it's for you to help the people. And you'll have a medicine that no medicine man has a power. He says, no medicine man has any power. Medicine men do not have power. It's the plants that have the medicine. Yeah. So, but this voice said, but you will have power. He said, yeah, you will have power. I will give it to you if you want it, and you will be able to cure a disease that nobody else can cure. Do you want the power? And the man said, well, if it helps the people, then okay, he said. And the spirit said, okay, I can give it to you, but you have to do something for me first, he said. Are you willing to do something for me? He asked him. So the man said, yes, I am. If it's for the people, I'm willing to do what you ask me to do, he said. So the spirit said, you have to leave your wife. You have to leave your children. You cannot live with them anymore. And instead, you have to marry 3 other women. Yeah? And you have to live with those 3 women for the rest of your life. If you agree to do that, I will give you this power, he said. So the man said, that's a hard thing. He said, I love my wife. I love my children. I can't leave them. Yeah? Now you have to remember, in the Lakota way, when a divorce happens, the child is never alone. Yeah? Now let me explain why. In the Lakota way, we have a family system called Tioshpaye. And what it is that your mother and her sisters are all your mothers. And the husbands of these women are all your fathers. And the children from all these marriages are all your brothers and sisters. Okay? And all mothers are just as important as the one you were born from. And all fathers are equally important too. Your mother's brothers are your uncles. Their wives are your aunties. And their children are your cousins. Okay? Now that's your mother's side. On your father's side, your father and all his brothers are your fathers too. And all the wives from these men are your mothers. And all the children are your other brothers and sisters. Yeah? And your father's sisters are your aunties, their husbands are your uncles, and their children are your other cousins. So you have many mothers and fathers in the Tioshpaye system. and they all are important. And any one of them can discipline you if you're messing up. Yeah? So the community is raising the children. So if a parent dies, the child is still not an orphan. Yeah? Look at all the mothers here. And all the fathers, too. There's lots of moms and dads in this kind of organization. So you're never alone. Yeah? It is going to be sad to lose somebody. But you have all these mothers and fathers there to comfort you, take care of you. You're always going to be loved in the Tioshpaye. Okay? So you have to keep that in mind, that this is the way it was back then. So this man, the elk spirit told this man, they said, go to your wife and tell her what I said. And you two talk it over. And then tomorrow you come back to me and you tell me your decision. So the man said, okay, I'll do that. So he went back home. He was very troubled. He didn't know what to say. Yeah, he was really quiet. But his wife knew something was wrong. So his wife said, tell me what's wrong. What's on your mind? I know something is wrong. So the man told his wife what happened. So she sat there and she said, well, this is a sacred thing, she said. So you should do it. It'll help the people. And remember, they're in the Tioshpaye system, so she's not going to be alone. Their children are not going to be, they're not going to be orphans. They are not going to be alone. They have a lot of moms and dads looking out for them. So they will be okay. Yeah? So she says, you should do this because it's for the people. Yeah? So he says, geez, okay. He said, so he has a hard time going to sleep that night. Finally, he decides, okay, I'll just do it. So he's leaving. The next morning, he looks at his wife and he has tears in his eyes because he can't live with her anymore. Yeah, he can't live with his children anymore either. So he's really sad. He has a heavy heart. Yeah. And so he goes back up to the hill. That elk spirit says, before you give me your decision, he said, I want you to make something for me. He said, it doesn't matter what your decision is, but I still need you to make something for me. So the man says, okay. So he asks, this elk spirit tells him what to do. And what results is a flute. Yeah? And so this elk spirit says, just blow on that flute. It's going to sing a song by itself. He just puts the flute to his mouth, and the song starts to play all by itself from the flute. And while that song is playing, 4 butterflies come out of the elk skull, mouth, and fly inside that flute. And they go inside that man. Yeah? And so he pulls the flute away because he's scared. He doesn't know what's going on. So he pulls the flute away from his mouth and he's like, what happened to this? And then the elk spirit tells him, okay, now you can tell me your answer. Are you going to do this? And the man said, my wife told me that I should do this because this is a sacred thing, he said. Then the elk spirit said, okay, but what do you think? So he started to cry. He said, I can't. He said, I love my wife. I love my children. I want to be their father. I want to continue to raise them and love them. And, I cannot part from them. And as he said this, 2 of the butterflies came out of his mouth. So the elk spirit said, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I wanted to know what kind of man you are. He said, if you came up here and you said without hesitation that you would do it, then I know you're selfish. He said, and then something really bad could have happened to you, because this power is really, really sacred. He said it's a power that can heal, that no medicine man can do this. He said, and it's a very special power. But if somebody with a wrong mind has it, it could hurt that man. Yeah, he's not going to be able to use it. Instead, it'll hurt the man. So I needed to know what kind of man you are, he said. So you told me exactly what I wanted to hear. That you are loyal to your wife, you're loyal to your children, you are proud to be a father, yeah, you're proud to be a husband. This is very crucial to be before you use this medicine, he said. And he said, you're only supposed to keep 2 butterflies. You're not supposed to keep 4. He said, if you keep 4 butterflies, they're going to eat you up from the inside. You will be destroyed. That means you're going to corrupt. Yeah, that's like too much sugar gives you diabetes. You see what I mean? It's good. The sugar is good. It tastes good. It can make you feel good. But if you get too much, you get diabetes. You see what I mean? It's the same concept here. So the elk spirit told him, to use this medicine, you only need 2 butterflies. That's it. So he said, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to give you this. The medicine is inside you now, he said. Yeah, it's in the butterflies. It's inside of you. If you had kept the 4, it would have destroyed you, he said. But you only need 2. That's really a good thing. So the medicine is inside of you. Now I'm going to teach you how to use it. So the man was really happy. Yeah, he was still crying, but this time there's tears of joy, because now he can stay with his wife. Now he can stay with his children, be a father to them, and now he's going to receive instruction from an elk spirit on how to use this medicine to heal people. Yeah. So this medicine is designed to heal emotionally disturbed people. It's designed to heal people who have a trauma, who are living, who have a block. Yeah, they experience something so bad that they just can't get past it. And so this medicine is to help them to do that, to get past it. Yeah, this medicine cures addiction. Okay, so that's pretty damn powerful. Yeah. So this man was so happy. Yeah, and he said, the elk spirit said, "I'm going to teach you some songs on this flute, and you use this flute to heal." Yeah, and this now you are what you call elk dreamer. Yeah, this is I'm going to come to you in your dreams. He said, you don't have to come to he said, I'm going to come to you throughout your life. He said, the next 4 days you come to me, but after that, he said, I'm going to come to you in your dreams, and I'm going to teach you what to do. I'm going to give you instruction on how to use this medicine to heal people. So the man was really happy. Yeah, so they started their first day of instruction. And the evening came. The elk told him where there were some buffalo, so he could kill some buffalo and take it back to the camp and feed the people, so they could feel good. Yeah, so he did that, and then he went back to his home. His wife was just shocked. You know, how come you're here? He said she was happy to see him, but at the same time she was scared. She thought that, something bad happened. And he said the husband told I mean, the man told his wife everything that happened, and she was so happy, yeah, that he passed the test. And so this was the first uh, Lakota elk dreamer, yeah. And so so he went up there for 4 days on this hill, and he received instruction from this elk spirit. Then after that, he didn't have to go up there anymore, and the elk spirit came to the man in his dreams and taught him more things. Yeah. So one day in one dream, the elk spirit said, "There's a man coming to this village, and women are going to throw themselves at his feet, and they're going to try to he just comes to use them. He's just coming to abuse them, nothing more. Yeah, he does not know what love is. He only seeks physical pleasure. He has no center." He said. So now you have the medicine. Yeah, you have the medicine to stop him. And I'm giving you the next symbol, and this is what you're going to use to stop him. And that next symbol was the dragonfly. Yeah, and he said this is a symbol of war, and you use this to stop the enemy. Yeah, to neutralize the enemy. And if the enemy is unhealthy, the enemy is gonna disappear. It's gonna go away. Yeah. So he taught him how to prepare a medicine using dragonflies. Yeah, and a song to sing while doing that preparation that adds power to that medicine. And he said, when that man comes, you go to him. He's gonna try to shake your hand. You put the medicine in your left hand, and you go to shake his hand with your right hand. But before you touch his hand, put your left hand up and blow the medicine in his face. That'll stop him, he said. So the guy says, okay. So he does it. Yeah, he makes the preparation with the dragonflies, and sure enough, one day, this is in this village. Here comes this man, the same man that I talked about in the first story. That story occurred thousands of years earlier. See, it's thousands of years later, and this man is still here. Okay, so now he's coming to this village, and he has no idea there's an elk dreamer in this village. Okay, so he's coming with the sole purpose of having sex with all the women. So he goes, and he's all friendly to the men. Yeah. So the elk dreamer goes to him, and he pretends to shake his hand. And as the elk, now we'll call him an elk man. Yeah. So the elk man, remember, the elk man and the elk dreamer are two different things. The elk man only wants sex. Yeah, he only wants to use women for sex. Nothing more. Yeah. So, and the elk man is like a vampire. Yeah? He's been alive for thousands of years. You can't destroy him up until this time. So then, as the elk man is going to shake hands with the elk dreamer pulls out his left hand and blows this dragonfly medicine into the face of the elk man, and the elk man goes into agony. Yeah, he starts screaming in pain, and next thing you know, he's ashes, and what you call it, the dragonfly powder consumes the ashes. The elk man no longer exists. And when his wife saw that, she was really amazed. So you see, an elk man and an elk dreamer are two different things. One is healthy, the other one is unhealthy. The strongest elk dreamers know how elk men work. Yeah? So the men were like, oh my goodness. So the story really spread, yeah, far and wide, that finally this man was stopped after thousands of years. It shows how an elk dreamer neutralized an elk man and just totally rendered him powerless. That he just didn't exist anymore. Yeah. The elk dreamer is the representative of Lakota Star knowledge. What the elk dreamer has is medicine that is based on healthy way of thinking, meaning you don't see things as good versus evil. You see things as difficulty and blessing, but that difficulty is a process that needs to be completed by you. And when you do that, then that leads to blessing. Yeah? So you don't lose. It's win-win. But it's not about good versus evil. Yeah? So an elk dreamer is more. Elk dreamer contains. It has information that supersedes what an elk man is. An elk man is a representation of duality, and a duality is a difficulty, and a difficulty is just one part of life. What an elk dreamer is representative of is all life. So it includes difficulty, knowledge of it, how to make it work, how to learn from it, how to make the best of it, plus blessing and peace. So elk men do not have peace. Elk dreamers have it. Yeah. So an elk man is like incomplete, but very dangerous. It's all about control. Yeah. So and that's to oppress others.